food. And I don't mean liquid diet. I don't mean one meal a day or keto or any of that stuff. I mean zero food. So I'm in the ninth day now. Energy is quite good. And let's get started. We'll talk about that and a few other things. I'm only going to talk about a few things and then we'll get straight to questions because in reality, I just want to answer questions. A lot of people have questions and we'll get to them. But first, let's let a few folks get in and see how the sound is. Hello, David. Good to see you back in Utah. Hope everything's good out there. My hat's crooked. There we go. How did my hat get crooked? All right. And let's let a few people get on. Please share it out so that David, share it out on your page, and please. And if we'll wait till a couple hundred people get on, and then we'll just go hot with this. Hey, Kevin, welcome on. And where y'all at? David's in Utah. Hey, SB, good to see you back. And Kevin as well. All right. A lot of interesting things going on with the states, up Michigan and Minnesota and other states that are really up in arms, literally. But let's see. Hey, Jim, Rocket City. Hey, Iris. I hope everything's good in Hong Kong. John Austin. I don't know, Iris. Did you hear my John Batchelor interview with Gordon Chang? I put that up on the page earlier today. It's also in my Patreon and other pages. Hello, Michelle in Arkansas and Wei Shan. Good morning in Australia. 5 by good. We'll get started here in a minute. It's actually not sharing out much, so we'll wait till hey Steve in UK. I thought you were in Hong Kong. Give it a chance to get out there, and then we'll get started. Not yet. See you later. Good, Iris. It's an interview I did with Gordon Chang and John Batchelor. It's on the radio. The weekly rate. Sometimes we do it twice a week. It depends on what's going on. Right now, of course, the virus has been, as you can imagine, sucking a lot of the news out. Hey, Brenda in Kansas and Lila Ja. All right, we'll get started. It's not sharing out much today. It's probably because, as you know, a lot of people come on to my Facebook and YouTube, and they'll come on and they'll say, I didn't even get an alert until you were on for 15 minutes. They do that a lot, so it depends on you actually sharing out. Well, let's get started anyway. I'll just show you a piece of gear that I found while I was getting ready to go back to America. Here, I'll show you. This is gear that I wore in Afghanistan and Iraq. Actually, I have several sets of these. It's really interesting gear. It looks like just headphones, right? But it's actually more than that. You wear them like this. After I'll show you this. I was going through my gear to return to the United States, and that brought back some memories. And so, this is just one of the sets I had. But basically, they go over your head like this, and it's very, you don't hear very much at all right now. I mean, it's really good noise protection. And so, now you can turn it on. There's batteries here. There's a AA battery on each side, right? So it's got noise cancellation. So you turn it on, and then it'll start noise canceling. So if you get into a firefight or something like that, it'll really, like, even if somebody's got a machine going right beside you here, it'll clip it out. So in other words, you can be talking to me because it's got little microphones right here. You see that? Uh-oh. That's a microphone, right? These are little microphones on the side and the front. See, that's a microphone right there. That's a microphone. And it's on both sides, right? So you go, so we can be in a firefight, and you can be talking just like this in a firefight without yelling, because this will clip out. It'll clip out. So bang, 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 bang. It'll go clip, 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 clip. But it'll immediately pick up your voice. Or we can talk through this this microphone. Now, if you're inside of a vehicle, that plugs up. There's different cords. This is one of them. So if you're in a vehicle, you can plug it into the vehicle and hear everybody in the vehicle, including radios at times, or helicopters. You can do the same. So sometimes I plug into helicopters. There's different plug attachments. But so if you get into a firefight, you want to get out of the vehicles sometimes and get as far away from the vehicles as possible sometimes. So you unplug it and you just run out. And so now you've still got your comms, right? You can still, I can still hear everything around me. Your helmet goes on top of this, right? And so, yeah, it's a Peltor. There's different types of Peltor, but this is one type. And so, basically, this thing, you can also turn it up if it's really quiet, like it's nighttime and you want to hear more. You can hear like a dog. You can turn it up. There's a little volume here, so you can just, if everything's very quiet, you can hear like a twig break because it's much more sensitive than your ears. Or you can change the sensitivity. So it's got all these different uses, right? And so basically, like if we were in combat and I was wearing this, of course, I'd be out there as a war correspondent, not as a soldier, but I was a soldier. So I kind of still will react sometimes like that when we're in combat. So let's say we come under RPG attack, and I'm the first one to spot it, which happens from time to time. I'd be like, you hear bang. I would, I would say contact, 3 o'clock, 100 meters, tree line by that large boulder, RPG 4-packs, right? So that means RPG four people, right side of the boulder, right side, keep hitting it, you're right. And they would hit it with the grenades and stuff like that and kill the bad guys sometimes. So that's how it works. Really interesting, good piece of kit. Anyway, I just found that while I was getting ready to go back to United States. So let's get on with things, and then I'm just going to say a few things, and then we're going to get straight on to just answering questions. And so, again, please share this out. And I want to, again, thank everyone for supporting my work. Very important. And I am into my 9th day of fasting. We see some of the states in the United States. Of course, President Trump has pushed this down to the state level, as if he pushes it down to the state level. I mean, there are state rights in the United States. So, and states can exert their rights as well, which they constantly do, right? And so this always brings some friction between states and the federal government. For people that aren't Americans that don't understand, federal government is our national level government, right? And then we have states that are like provinces, and they all have their own rights. So it's always a balancing act, and it works, but it's like everything, it's got its ups and downs. So we've got different people, different states making their own decisions on how to open up again, how to open up after the virus. Well, the virus isn't after yet. It's just getting started in reality. I mean, the United States so far is reporting about 35,000 deaths. And I think globally, about 150,000 have been reported so far. But, by the time this is said and done, I won't doubt if there's tens of millions dead globally from this. Who knows? Nobody really knows. I would not doubt if there's a million dead Americans in the near future. It's going to take a while because this is still spreading. They're not, flattening the curve and all that doesn't mean we've got it under control or anything like that. It just means that we're managing a little bit the fire that is still growing, and it's apparently growing. We don't know how many people. Our testing is so far behind that we don't even know how many people have had it. We don't know what the denominator is, or the numerator for that matter. Hello, Ding in Thailand. So we'll just talk about a few things. Then I'm just going to go straight to answering people's questions, because a lot of people want to talk about, and we'll just chit chat. A lot of people want to talk about states, what's happening in Michigan and other places. Of course, I'm not there. And well, one thing's for sure, when it comes, everybody's trying to point fingers here. You don't see many people taking credit for what happened. Of course, pointing fingers at the Communist Party of China is completely valid. And then the next phase after that would be the World Health Organization covering up and lying and helping to let this thing spread. And then after that, the chain of guilt goes deeper and deeper. But the proximate cause of all this is the Chinese Communist Party, period. They started the fire. They lit the match. And then World Health Organization was like, oh, take the batteries out of that fire alarm. Nothing's going on. No fire here. No problem. Go back to bed. No fire. Go back to bed. That's not smoke you smell. Go back to bed. Those aren't screams you hear. Right? Go back to bed. And then the next thing you know, we're in this situation. with economies collapsing all over the place, including the United States. And so now there's the big question, of course, around the world, not just the United States, but around the world. When should we reopen? What should we do? At the beginning, I was all for closing down, and I was saying that in January, where a lot of people were still calling it flu. How many people still call it flu? And remember how many discussions we had on my Facebook and social media with people arguing that this is only the flu, you're causing panic. You know what I mean? Causing panic. And notice the people that say you're causing panic often do it with capital letters and 3 or 4 exclamation marks. So anyway, it's all come to pass. And so now we're down to, it's all over the United States. It's all over Canada. It's all over Europe. It's all over Asia. It's all over Africa, presumably. It looks like it is if you look at the map of different nations it's in, and South America, and of course Mexico, and Central America. And basically some of the Polynesian countries apparently don't have it. Some of them locked down already. So, hey, Dana, Dean, you caught it live. Welcome to see you on. I'm just going to answer a bunch of questions here very shortly. And by the way, after I go off, my friend Al Johnson is going to come on. People ask, and last time Al was on with an interview, they asked Al for book reading suggestions, and Al has put together a video, and he's going to be on this video and with his book reading suggestions. He's brilliant. Al's someone that I've traveled around Asia with, researching. He did 2 combat tours in Iraq. He is an EOD officer, and now he teaches counterterrorism and all sorts of other things to different countries, including Thailand and, various countries. And so let's get on it. I'm just going to get on with some questions. And by the way, next week I should be on every day. I may be off one day. I'm not sure because I'm scheduling a power outage. I'm going to test my resilience on everything and actually do a power outage and see how well my systems work. That might take me offline, but it should not. If everything works well, and it should, then I'll be online and saying, hey, I'm doing a power outage now and all the electricity's still on. So that'll be my resilience test, because you need to test you need to do resilience tests on yourself at sometimes and find out any mistakes that you've made and the holes, that sort of thing. So let's answer questions. Let's go to the top and let's get right on it. Hey, John Austin and Orlando, David. Okay, let's see. Let's get going. I'm looking for the first question and we'll just get on with it. Hey, in Kansas, Brenda. All right. John Austin says 30 hours into my first fast, 3 pounds. Thanks. That's great. Grown men, if you're a grown man, might lose a net pound per day of fat, roughly, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. It depends on various things. But so the 2 pounds of that 3 will be something else and they'll come back. But there's a net probably of roughly a pound of fat that you've lost, depending on many factors. Hugh Crewlin, Jacksonville, Florida is reopening beaches tonight at 5 to 8 p.m. And at this point, I'm saying might as well. We're going to take a lot of casualties one way or the other. And the last thing we want to do is take casualties and have our economy destroyed, because that has epic implications. And we need to be willing to go forth. Remember, one of the most controllable comorbidities that's apparently causing deaths or related to deaths with this disease is obesity. So, you hear different groups saying, oh, it's disproportionately affecting blacks or whatever and whatever. And remember, it was only like a month or two ago. A lot of people are like, why is it hitting more Caucasians than Asians, right? And now, people are like, it's disproportionately hitting blacks. It's like, actually, it seems to be proportionately hitting obese people. If you're black and obese, and if more blacks are obese, then there you go. I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows until all these numbers shake out. What I'm getting to is one thing that's highly controllable is obesity. And so, sooner or later, there's a very high chance this virus is going to get you. There's a super high chance, at least 50%. And so, highly suggest you consider fasting or something else to get your weight down so that when you do hit, you don't end up dead. And let's just talk in big boy terms like combat, because we are in a war. It's like you go that way, there's a sniper, he's a good shot. He shot 4 guys last week, 3 of them are dead, right? So this is like this, you know what I mean? Fat people are getting killed. Do you want to be fat? All right, so lose weight. You want to get killed? Be fat and run out there in front of the virus, because that virus is going to shoot you. So let's see. Let's keep going. Hello in Bakersfield, and Tim as well. Fanny Choi in Hong Kong. Hey, Cherie in Tucson. Get going, Jacob. We're going, bro. All right. Peltor. Yep. Peltor. Green. Georgiana, New Jersey. Let's get on. Back for another watch. Great to have you on. And I do want to thank I did shave, and my razor didn't come in yet. So it took 3 razors to shave that stuff off. I'd rather be clean shaven anyway, but I don't like spending all that money on razors either. I'm like a chintzy, but I'll spend, good money on good food and that sort of thing. But I don't like wasting anything. Like I don't like wasting 1 grain of rice. You know what I mean? It's just, so if we end up in a famine situation, I should be fine, because you won't see me wasting any rice. And you won't either when you're hungry, trust me. If you've never been hungry before, like I have. Arvin Shamala, did COVID-19 originate from China Science Lab? I'm starting to think all compass needles are pointing to the Wuhan lab. That's what I think. All compass needles are pointing to that. And it's not conspiracy theory at this point to point to that. I've been, very a lot of inertia to do that because of lacking evidence. But now things are starting to stack up. I mean, a lot of us suspected that from the beginning. But remember, the wet lab, or not the wet labs, but the wet markets also have historically been a breeding ground of pathogens such as this. And this has been taught for years. There's people that have warned us about those wet markets for years. But that doesn't mean it came from there. In fact, it doesn't look like it came from the wet market. It's really looking like it came from the lab. And in any case, China covered up and didn't let any of our scientists in to check it out. So listen, there you go. Why are you covering it up if it just came from the wet market? You should have opened it right up, right? I don't believe them. If I were a betting man, I would put, 10-1 odds it came from the lab at this point. But, without actual proof. But it really looks like a duck. It walks like a duck. Kevin Greenleaf, great Eat Pro. Remember that a lot of the range and for home defense. Barbara, watch Popcorn, the Moonshiner. That's it. Actually, a lot of Americans can understand that dialect that he's speaking, the hillbilly dialect. It's pretty clear to most of us. But some of my foreign friends, I say not American, I'm the foreigner here, right? But like I show it to Thai friends and Japanese and Hong Kongers, and they're like, nope, most of them can't understand that accent, that dialect. It's not just an accent, it's a straight up different dialect. Arvin Shamala, Hugh Crewin, you mean the, okay, that's not for me to answer. Yeah, Barbara Summy says that World Health Organization should be shut down. All countries should pull out. Actually, I mean, we do want the World Health Organization, and President Trump clearly does too, but not the way it is. Same with the United Nations. They do serve a purpose. There's a reason they were made, an important reason, actually. But then they've been hijacked by the communists. They've been hijacked by like our universities have. And, we need to do some cleaning out of our universities, of all these people that have helped facilitate this. But yeah, it needs to be cleaned out. The World Health Organization, and the leverage, the first leverage and easiest leverage we got is our 15% support that the United States puts into it. Notice a lot of newspaper headlines yesterday were like talking about how many countries are against Trump, defunding the World Health Organization. There's an easy solution to that, all you complainers. Write checks. Just do it. Then you can say, we don't need the big bad USA. We'll just pay for it ourselves. Yeah, that's what we want. Please pay for it yourselves. That would be great. Yeah, Canada is in bad shape. Hey, Needy in Arizona. I hope to see y'all out there sometime. In Kenya. Kenya. Florida checking in. Hey, Florida. Mike always runs the. Oh yeah, I always got the best gear, bro. Because this is gear for combat, and you're talking about my Peltors. Yeah, these Peltors have seen quite a lot of combat. Yeah, like I said, they have little batteries in them because they've got microphones that see AA batteries, one on each side. So when it's nighttime or in a quiet area, you can have these on. I would sleep with them on sometimes because if somebody's sneaking up, it would. I can hear them better. It really picks up the click clack. Anything that they're coming closer, you can really pick them up. And actually, when I was cannibal hunting, I used not this stuff, but some other stuff. Pong Porn says, "Go home now. Your country needs you. Make America great again." But you're worth nothing in northern Thailand. It's clearly see that sitting talking bull. Oh, Pongkrom, here's what I'll tell you. Go to hell. How you like that? You don't like an American telling a Thai that, do you? Kind of freaks you out, doesn't it? Well, go to hell. There you go. Have a nice day. Click off. Go ahead and click off and go away. I don't care. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like when an American tells you to go to hell. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Americans that chump down and go, oh my gosh, I want everybody to love me. I'm not one of those. I don't care if you love me. I don't care if you don't like me. I just don't care. Go away. Alrighty, got that straight? Thank you. Bye-bye. Weishan, hello in Australia. Japan appears to be behind in testing and aren't able to test enough people, even though they're showing symptoms. Sorry, got a news report. It's translation of a picture I read that came or be shared. Interesting. Ray Rodriguez and Weishan, United States, you probably know is like way behind on testing. It's like borders on criminal. Ray Rodriguez, hey everyone from San Antonio, Texas. I hope everything's good in San Antonio. Hey Melanie, since this day 9, maybe 10 days, since this is day 9, maybe 9 or 10 days ago. I don't know what you mean, but this is day 9 of my fasting. Yeah. And you can join me. Join me now. I don't know how long I'll go. I'll probably go to at least 10 minimum, at least one more day. And by the way, my friend Soy is fasting as well. She's Egg's mother, and she's actually started at the same time. She's still on it. She's enjoying it now. She was a little concerned when getting up to the 4th and 5th day because that's that turbulence time for a lot of people. But once you get through that and you get to like 6th, 7th, 8th day, then it starts to get to be nice, actually, right? So now it's getting to be good. Yeah, I do need some sleep, Tracy. Let's see. Barbara Summy, I need to send some of my squirrels to China. I got too many. Squirrels, they would just eat them, which I would too. I used to have a pet squirrel when I was a boy, but then also they're good to eat because we used to hunt them. They go in the oak trees and whatnot. Barry Henderson, I've seen Trump's 180-degree turn from isolation to opening up again. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us are. Mitigation is even not doing well. I mean, it's worked to some extent. Clearly, it's by sending or asking people to go home. A lot of people have, and the virus itself has sent people home. Like the epidemiologist will tell you. You'll see it, the experienced ones, and they're like the thing that really causes social isolation is when people start getting scared because so many people are dying. I mean, they see this historically. People start dying, and they go away. They either go to a different part of the world or country or whatever, or they stay in their home. So there you go. Penny, I didn't talk much about fasting tonight. I was just saying how far I'm into it, but I'm fasting now. I'm into started the 9th day now. So is that right? What day did I start? This should be the 9th day, I believe. Hello in Michigan. I wonder what's going up in Michigan. Hello, where I'm up in Chiang Mai. Wonderful Chiang Mai. Fanny Choi. Hello from Kenya. All right. I'm just looking for questions, actually. People from all over the world. Let's see. John Contrail, you are so misguided. Shut up with the lies. All right. Let's take another sip of that poison you're drinking. Let's see. Barbara Sumi, governor of New York, Cuomo, was ripping Trump today. I saw that. And actually, did you notice that they've hired some McKinsey Consulting or something like that? And the reason that they do that is instead of, why are you hiring a consultant group? I mean, for this, has any consultant group done this before? This should be a command decision from the governor and the governors of each state, and the president, of course, on his level for the things that he can influence and control. But they'll hire consultants and whatnot, because then they can blame it off on them. Well, according to the consultants who've never been through this either, basically it's a demonstration of a weak leader. A very weak leader playing politics then hires consultants so that they'll be able to blame the consultants on anything that people don't like. Nicola, thanks to you, I've always known it's not flu. All over UK news today, they've admitted 50% more deaths. Try 500%. Yeah, there's so many. United States now is reporting 35,000, but I think that number is going to be significantly higher next month at this time. It'll be much higher, especially as we do open up and go. People need to go to work. So basically, this is a war. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, that we're in a war, and we're going to take wartime casualties. The United States alone will probably take more casualties in this, I think, my guess, than in any war in U.S. history. The most that we've ever lost by estimates in a war was the U.S. Civil War from 1861 to 1865, and we lost, I think, 665,000 or something like that killed. I would be surprised if we lose less than that this time. Hey, B. But we've got to be prepared to do that, and we are, and fight through and rebuild the economy, and get right on it. And so, we have to stay strong, and we will. Nicola Higgins, herd immunity. Did you read that the Chinese that had immunity already have none now? There's a lot of information coming out that you may be able to catch this repeatedly. So that's obviously bad news if true, and that's been coming out for a while. Hello from Bangladesh. I've been there. I went to Sundarbans. I was looking for, Royal Bengal tigers. Whoa. Oh, by the way, Bangladeshi people were very good to me. Thank you. Every one of them was so good to me. Very, very interesting in Bangladesh. That's why I always say hi to Bangladeshi people when I see them, because every single Bangladeshi was, and when they saw I was from America, they were like, "Oh, from America, welcome to Bangladesh." So now I just return the favor when I see Bangladeshis. Hey, Eduardo in Brazil, just finished your 7. All right, you did 7 days of fasting. Big time. Excellent, man. 7 days. Did the big seven. All right. That's excellent. You know, you learn a lot about yourself by doing that, don't you? And also, you learn 3 days without food. Who cares? It's like it doesn't matter. And so it builds confidence and calmness. Now that you've done 7 days, you know, your first of all, it's super healthy. You know, you've been in autophagy and you've been doing other things that have cleansed your body for those 7 days, and now you're gonna feel good about yourself. You're gonna feel good about the accomplishment. 7 days fasting for somebody who's never tried to even do one and is afraid to do it. I'm not saying that you were afraid to do it. You couldn't have been too afraid. You just did 7 days. And anybody that can do 7 days can do 15, by the way. And the most I've ever done is 20. But the really hardest part, if it's that hard, is that first 3 to 4 days. Certainly by the fifth day, it is usually getting a lot easier. And for some people, most people, it's getting easier by the fourth day, certainly by the fifth day. By the eighth, ninth day, which I'm on the ninth day now, I'm not having any problems. All right. Wait a minute. What day is this? Am I on the eighth day or the ninth day? Let's see. Anyway, I lose track sometimes. You know, it's funny. The first time I fasted, you're like counting the hours. You're like, oh wow, I just did another day. There's 4 days. You know, and then after you've done it for a while, you're like, is that day 12 or day 14? It's like you lose track. You have to, write down your start date. Yeah, and actually, Barbara says yes, the virus will come in waves for sure. But remember, there hasn't even been a first wave yet. That's not. This is the first wave. It's not like flattening the curve by social isolation is the means we're now entering the second wave. It's like an artificial second wave. This is still we're still on the front end of the first wave, actually, listening to the experts. uh, which is something to certainly be alert for. Alan Folsom, Mike, Texas Governor Abbott just said schools are closed for the remainder of the year. Also, some of the retail will begin to open next week on April 22nd. Ray Rodriguez, I lost 30 pounds intermittent fasting, but put 10 back on. You're going to put 10 back on immediately when you stop, because you're going to get that water right back. So you'll put the water back on. Let's see. Colin Smith, how is microfasting, where you go 6 to 18 hours between meals, versus full fasting? Is microfasting just a joke? Actually, Colin, I may fade into that from this actual fast. I think I'll fade into, that's like one meal a day, or, that, like a 18-4, or excuse me, 18-6 means you eat in that 6 hour window, or a 24 means you eat in that 4 hour window, or a 22-20, or 22-2, that sort of thing. But I'll probably go to something like, I don't know, maybe an 18-6. I'll try and see what I like. I'll see what I like, I like the idea of just eating what you want for 6 hours a day, because I like to eat too. I enjoy food. Hey, Barry. Yeah, but why all or nothing? Why roulette? Go in like 4 set groups and times dates. Great group insights. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if you're talking about fasting, or if you're talking about, um, the opening up for the pandemic. Sherry Bowman, it's hitting the elderly. Oh, absolutely. And that's why in January I was saying get all your elderly loved ones out of nursing homes. Uh, uh, Now, a lot of the elderly can simply self quarantine, and others can't. I mean, there's so many different circumstances out there. There's we've got 330 million people just in America and billions around the world. So there's just so many different circumstances. But some can just lock the door and go, listen, I'm I'm older. I'm at risk for 5 different reasons, and I better just close the submarine door, you know, and and let it blow over, which could be a long time because this thing, nobody knows the nature of this thing yet. The scientists are trying to figure that out. Nicola says 6 waves reported here in the UK with, I don't know about that. Martin Poole, hey, Michael from France. Hello in France. I hope everything's good there. Last time I was in France, I had an enjoyable time. Michelle, day 4 of my first fast. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Headache on day 2. Some people get headaches, but no other issues. Feel great today. Better than any of the previous. Down 6 pounds. Excellent. Planned on 72 hours, but am at 85 now. Outstanding. You did what I did. I started off with, what did I do? I think I started off was I was going to go 12 hours or 24 or something. I can't remember. And on my very first fast was like, I don't remember. I'd have to look at my notes. It was like 10 or 12 days or something like that. I mean, I went, because I just started off. I was just going to do a quick one. I was like, I'll go a little more like you're doing. I did what you're doing. Michelle, oh, heck, I can do another 10 hours. I can do another 15 and even that off to 100 hours. You know what I mean? And the next thing you know, hey, Mary, I love to eat too. You know I love to eat. Look how fat I am sometimes. I got to get thin, though, now because I got to get back into action. Regina, hello in Kentucky, and Randy in California. Oh, Jim Patterson, lost my first friend to the virus today in UK. Sorry to hear that, Jim. You know, I strongly believe we all are going to lose people that are close to us. Strongly believe that. This is quite serious. A lot of people still don't quite realize how serious it is. And on that regard, I would like to say, again, continue to stock up on food. Continue to make yourself more resilient. Food, water, pharmaceuticals that you need. Go to YouTube and check prepping videos for people that prep in your circumstance. Let's say you're in Arizona or UK or whatever, and go and check for videos, preppers in that area. Hello in Italy, ciao. Yeah, I love to eat too, Mary. Alan Folsom, Mike, thanks for doing this, man. Love you, pal. You're most welcome. I'm very happy that you come on. Flack Pappy, hey. Mark Johnson, being overweight affects your heart and ability to function under stress and with, I'll call it CCP virus. Obese people die of heart attacks from the stress. You need to be healthy, not just thin. There you go, Mark. Yeah, get some sunshine, exercise, eat right, and now's the time to lose some fat if you got too much. Jim Patterson, I only lasted 3 days of fasting, fell victim to the chicken stew. Well, come on, man, chicken stews, that's pretty tempting. But you were in the hard part. That day 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the hard part. Once you get through that, it starts getting easier. Like now, me in day 9, I think, right? It's not hard at this point. It becomes enjoyable. And if my previous fast or any example, by the time I get to like day 11, 12 or whatever, I'll be like, look at all the weak people that have to eat. It's kind of funny. But 3 days is respectable, though. That's good, Jim, that you did 3 days. Barbara, yes, the lab done it, but China will never admit, Barbara. You know that. Never, ever. Lee's Detloff Bruin, Smithfield Foods is owned by China. Yeah, I read that. This whole thing is getting weird. Oh, a huge amount. Like a huge amount of the pharmaceuticals that are used around the world, including in the United States, across Europe, here in Thailand, they're made in China and India. And a huge amount of the APIs, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, are made in China. So chances are, if you need any pharmaceuticals, there's a high chance those are from China or the APIs are from China. And so you may be cut off soon. That's why in January, or at least by February, I was saying stock up on pharmaceuticals. But I highly suggest you stock up on food. 1 month is an absolute minimum rock bottom. 1 month. That's rock bottom. I would highly suggest at least 4 months. And after that, if your budget will permit, even a year, 15 months or more, I'll be stocking up some more tomorrow. And I'll be doing a resilience test at home next week. I'm going to cut off my electricity and see how well everything works with no electricity for 24 hours. It should work fine. But if it doesn't work fine, that gives me a chance to fix it before times are rougher. Hello. Yeah, they didn't let us get to Wuhan lab. China did not. That's right. Colin Smith says lots of wet markets, only one level 4 biolab in China. Well, I'll add in China that we know of. All right. If there's any specific questions, here we go. Mr. Una Baker Stewart, do you have any thoughts on the large protests going on in American cities to bring the economy back and stop the lockdown? Yeah, Americans want to go back to work and now increasingly realize the danger of the disease and are courageously. I mean, by now, there's not that many people calling it the flu. They realize that there's bullets flying. There are viral bullets flying right now, and they are snapping right on by, and they're hitting people and killing them every day. With 35,000 dead Americans just so far. I highly would be not surprised at all if it goes over 1 million Americans, and I don't mean 10 years from now. And a lot of us realize that, but are willing to go face that because they realize that they got to feed their families. They want their companies not to go out of business. I mean, this is an opportunity also for China to pick off global markets and pick off markets while other companies, such as in the United States, are shut down. So they want to go to work. And if I were them, I would too. And I am them, and I will go to work too. I am at work, but I'm in a safe place now. But I'll come back to the United States, and I'll take my chance with everybody else. And so there you go. Damian Erdanella, how come you won't say it was intentionally released on accident? Is your opinion negative? I didn't say it was an accident. I'm not going to say I'm not a mind reader. I'm not omniscient, and neither are you, and neither is our CIA. I don't know anybody that knows exactly where it comes from, unless it's I'm sure the Chinese know. I think it came from the lab. That's my opinion, but that's an opinion, and I don't have factual proof that it came from that lab. I'm just saying every compass needle points at that lab. Every one of them. And the Chinese Communist Party points at the wet market, which still leaves them guilty. One way or the other, they're guilty. Ray Rodriguez, do I think China has an antidote? Well, I don't know. Hey, Lois Stockwell, snowy day. Not here. Nicola Higgins, virus wasn't refined enough, yet released on purpose. Maybe, I don't know. Erlinda Anderson, what are your thoughts on them trying to open the country up? I think we should open it up. And, it's obviously going to end in a lot of casualties, but we're going to get those casualties anyway. It's just maybe more if the hospitals get overwhelmed. Almost certainly more if the hospitals get overwhelmed. But at the same time, our economy is dying, and that can lead to other catastrophes that will make this virus look like a chump. Even if this virus kills tens of millions of people worldwide and well over 1 million Americans, if it does, there are other issues that could be far more devastating if the economy collapses. And so I say accept the casualties. I have a wartime mentality though. Like, we're going to take that hill. It means we're going to lose some of our buddies, right? And including us. You know what I mean? I might, be killed as well. So that's the way it goes. And so if you're going to take that hill, you take that hill. And this is time to take that hill and probably take a boatload of casualties. Tammy Hortz, partially by a Chinese company, talking about these many ownerships of Smithfield and others. So Mike, SB is asking, so Mike, how do we wrest control of the World Health Organization from CCP? For starters, we cut the funding, withhold funding until we are able to make some changes that are commensurate with our level of commitment to the World Health Organization. One is putting, for instance, Dr. Ben Carson in charge, as I heard Steve Bannon mention, and I like that idea. And Dr. Ben Carson comes across to me as a trustworthy guy. He hasn't, so far, I haven't seen him do anything that made me, put my antenna up. So Barry Henderson. So first it was face mask, gloves, distance, and now, let's loosen the chain a few yards, open up stores, restaurant, and such. Let's get sick. Well, I'm not saying take off the mask, that's for sure, and certainly not saying. The problem is our economy is collapsing. It's, there's millions of people out of work and more every minute. And that brings severe dangers. So, this is a war. And sometimes you got, a battleship is shooting at you over here, a submarine shooting at you over there, another battleship shooting at you. Here's an incoming missile, and here's an aircraft coming at you. Which one do you address? Usually you shoot the closest one. You know what I mean? The one that you can hit. Right. And I don't know what Navy people do, but Army people generally, infantry, you shoot the ones closest to you. Right. That's a general rule anyway. When in doubt, shoot the ones closest to you. And the thing that we can control the most is getting the economy going. We're going to take a lot of casualties no matter what we do at this point. There is no way around that we're going to take a lot of casualties. We can take those casualties hiding under a rock, watching our country melt away, or we can man up like our grandparents did and get out there and face it straight in the face, knowing we're going to take a lot of fatalities, and we just go straight on and we take it and we take our fatalities and we get our economy going again, straight up. This is war. You got to be a warrior, and that's what we do. John Crosby. Hey, Mike, thanks for speaking the truth and being so available. You're most welcome. We got to have everybody out there speaking the truth and taking it to the streets if we have to. Laura Crump Lancaster, buy local meat and you know what you're getting. Oh, yeah, local markets. I always like local markets. And you're helping your neighbor and farmer survive. Yeah, absolutely. And you might make new friends too. When you buy from the same people all the time, you make friends too. Hey, Dana. Chris, I'll come back to the United States sometime this year. I have to be careful because first of all, everything's closed here. I could find a way back, but it would be very difficult because there's no international flights coming in. I could still find a way to do it, but also I have responsibilities here I need to take care of. But when I feel like everybody is safe here, that I have responsibility for, then I'll punch out. Because if I just punch out, I'm leaving people behind that depend on me. So I'm not going to do that. Hey, SB, you know what they say, Alan? The further north you go in Florida, the further south you go. That's true. Hello from Norway. Oh, you're back again, Trond. Good to see you. Yeah, Elskadai. Hello, Lois. Again, you've been here all for an hour. Let's see. Reading up on the Convention of States again. Yeah, I guess this would be about that time, wouldn't it? Joyce Note is saying Lady Gaga was on World Health Organization talking today. Well, I wouldn't doubt it. Was she? Um, Lady Gaga is a gifted artist, that's for sure. Laura Crump Lancaster, buy local meat so you know what you're getting. Yeah, I totally agree. I got Brenda's asking what size Berkey did I get? I got a big Berkey. It's called Big Berkey. I think it's the second size up for 3 to 4 people, right? And it's not actually come yet. But I was hoping it would come today. Glenn, North Korea has been tight-lipped. Wonder how their numbers are. Yeah. Cherie Bonham, heck, I'm thinking about buying a cow and some pigs, raise my own meat, a few chickens too. Yeah, why not? Hey, Needy. And Michelle, upon reopening, we all have to be even more responsible on a personal level. Yeah. This is a chance of soul searching for everybody and a time for reflection. And, we're all going to be war veterans after this. Everybody that lives through this thing is a war veteran, one way or the other. So do it, get through this in a way that when you're looking back years ahead, you're proud of the way you behaved. You're proud of your actions. You're proud of the way you treated people around you. If everybody helps one person, if everybody helps just one person, we're going to be fine. Just find one person to help. Doctors, nurses, law enforcement, truck drivers, anybody that we need out there on the front line who's within your circle that help them in some way, whether it's feed their goldfish, go shopping for them, because they're crushed for time or whatever. If everybody helps one person, identify somebody that needs help because we need them on the front line. We need the cops out there on the front line. We don't need them stressed out like I got to do all this stuff and then and half my department's sick and then I got to go food shopping for the kids. You know what I mean? Step in and help them out and do it. And these are the sorts of things, whether it's for law enforcement or whomever, we really got to watch out for them and keep them on the front line. It makes a big difference. Trust me. I would see it in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan as an example, or here in Thailand and fighting as well. The support base is really important. Even sometimes it's just a thank you. You don't maybe get it unless you've been in that situation. A lot of people do get it, but just even thank yous are like when people send me a thank you note, it doesn't even have to have any dollars attached. Like 99% of the thank you notes I have don't have a dollar attached, but or anything attached, right? But the thank yous actually are very positive reinforcement. If a nurse or a doctor or a cop is at the end of a shift and they're tired, man, and they've been taking a lot of chances, and they say, oh, there's somebody that said thank you walking down the street. Hey, officer, thank you for what you're doing. That adds up. Don't underestimate it. I'll come see y'all in Arizona, Needy. Colin Smith, anyone see the black rain reports in Japan? Possible ash from North Korea. Good Lord, what could be next? If anything happened like that, we'd pick it up on satellite if there was any fires or something like that. But I haven't seen it, but I'll check into it. Oh, it was Lois, who you're asking who am I telling to go to hell? It was some person that was telling me to get out of Thailand and go back to America. It's like, get lost. It wasn't you, of course. Cherie Bonham, range cubes are 270 a ton now. Oh, actually, let's talk about that. I put a bunch of food items and other items in my Amazon.com cart, and I'm just watching the prices because this is if you let's say put a few hundred go to Amazon.com, set up a cart, and put a few hundred items into it. Right? It can be food. I put a lot of food and all kinds of other stuff. Right? And then when the prices change, it will send you an email and tell you about the price changes. So like I got an email yesterday, I guess, and it was a lot of price changes and almost all of them are up, including on food and everything else. There was only a few that went down and they went down just a little bit. But some of the ones that went up in price, including a lot of food, was a significant increase. So that's a good way you can test yourself, just like on Amazon. Go put a few hundred items in your cart or make a cart and see and watch the prices. That's why I keep saying stock up now. Get everything you need right now. Get all the food you need right now. Do it. Don't waste time. You've already lost money if you haven't done it yet. Laura Crump says, probably time to change that and support you all. I'm all for it. I hope you all see the more support coming now. Thanks for all you do. If you're asking for people to support me, I thank you very much, Laura. I thank you very much. And I definitely, absolutely need it, especially when I come back to the United States. But Chris, I'll come back when it won't be much longer, but it could be still a few months because this is going to be with us for a long time, but I need to plan this out. We're going to need to rebuild our economy, and that's where I can help. I can help with my cameras and my writing and just go around and find people that are being successful and starting to make money or barter or whatever, and asking like, who in your community is being successful, and go find them and say, hey, what are you doing? Let's share that out with the rest of the world and the country and show what secrets are you doing, because the more of us who are successful, the more quickly we'll become, get back on our feet. Right. And so that's, I think, where I can do maximum good with my abilities is to help the United States get back on its feet by just going around. And, I've been all over the country many times before, so I'm quite familiar with it and comfortable. And I'll just find people and talk with them and say, hey, you're making a lot of money. Everybody else is unemployed. What's your secret? Because we need to get that out there. You know what I mean? And get everybody making money so everybody's good to go. Tammy's saying, wait a minute. I'll get back to that one. Let's see. I hope I didn't skip any toilet paper prices. I don't even care about this. Tron Fleming, I'd be in Chiang Mai and Doi Suthep many times. That's very nice. I can see Doi Suthep when I walk out. Tammy Horse, there is no shortage of toilet paper. There is a disruption in supply chain of certain types of TP. I'm telling you, though, stock up on food now. I've been saying that since January, and I couldn't say it any stronger now. Now I'm even more confident that it's important to do. Would I consider running for public office in Florida? I don't know. Let me tell you, if I were to ever run for public office, I've never thought about it. But if I were to do something like that, I would be looking for a lot of advisors that are really smart. And I would just be like, every morning we have a battle update briefing, like what's going on, like every day. You want to be my advisor? We meet at 7:00 for coffee, and we go for a long walk together, and we talk, and we get it together, and we figure out, and we do it through consultation with people all over that know their particular fields, like water people. Got any water problems? Electric. Got any electric? Trash people. Medical. School teachers. What's going on? Business. Cops. What's going on? Police chief. You know what I mean? Everybody every day get together, or at least enough that you know what's going on. Hey, Dizzy, thank you. I really appreciate it, Dizzy, that you've supported right now. Actually, I might be able to see it on my phone. I might have seen it come in. Sometimes it gives live alerts. It depends on what kind of support. Some of them will actually alert me, and then other times it doesn't. And let's see. I don't see Elizabeth. Thank you. I see you sent a donation through PayPal. I can see Elizabeth, and I see one more here, which is, I don't know if I should say it out loud, because I don't know if they want me to say it. So I won't say that one, but okay. And but thank you. A couple people have supported. Really appreciate it. All right, and let's keep going. And Dizzy, I'm sure I'll see it. Pamela, hello in Ripley, Ohio. I like Ohio. Ohio is great. A lot of core people from America come from Ohio. That's like core America right there. I spent a lot of time in Ohio. A lot. Barry Hendelson. So first it was face mat. Yeah, it's now it's time to open up. Oh, you can see the results of my fast, Thomasine. Yeah, you can see I'm getting more handsome, aren't I? Look at that. All right. Cherie Bonham. Hey, Michael, do you hunt rattlesnakes too? you've got a place to stay at our place anytime. I might take you up on that. I haven't hunted rattlesnakes. I used to catch snakes all the time, but I'll eat rattlesnakes. I've eaten rattlesnakes. Rattlesnakes are good. Rattlesnake. That's funny when they talk about the Chinese will eat anything in those fresh markets. I was thinking, well, actually, that was me growing up in Florida, like turtles and squirrels and birds we would shoot. We'd eat them, yeah. Oh, thanks, PayPal. Dizzy, I'm sure it'll come in soon. It'll give me an alert at some point. It'll probably alert me soon. I appreciate it very much. Let's see. Jacob Crisp, come on over. We have plenty. Yeah, Lewis. Convention of the States you're talking about. What do you think for us? Well, I think, states' rights are vital, of course, and our founding fathers thought the same, and I think most of us do, actually. I mean, we need a federal government that's very strong, of course, and but we also need states that have strong. We need states that have a mind of their own, because everybody has their own problem set, and so yeah, and Barry Hendelson saying Michigan, Lansing, people protesting over the isolation distance. Yeah. Many with guns back inside. I'm not afraid of the people with guns on the street. When do they ever do anything? You know what I'm saying? They're just out there protesting. And people need to listen to them because they got a valid point. They want to go back to work. And they need to go back to work. And we need them to go back to work. Tammy Hohart's saying, I see a lot of people saying they want to suddenly buy local food now. When we agriculturists asking you to do that. Yeah. Well, that could change now. Many of you, not all, obviously, were too worried about being cheap. You were buying Walmart because of crony capitalism. Walmart started to tell the rest of the country how they were going to get their food. Want to support we cattle producers? Vote for less taxes and regulations. Oh, I'll definitely vote for that. Actually, I'd love to move back to the United States, in particular, Texas. I just need to actually finance it somehow and get unfortunately, probably have to be something like a condominium, something that I could leave and not always be there because I have to be gone for long periods and it needs to be secure. But I can tell you one thing. When I do, I tell you how I shop. I mean, I'll be like, where's a farmer? Because I want I want to get 200 pounds of steaks. I only want to buy it like once a year, you know what I'm saying? Or once every so often. And the best is local farmers. You know that. And that's the way to do it. Snowing in Michigan. Wow, Michigan's so cold, man. I'm from Florida. Ray Sense is saying Tedros, he's the dog at the head of the World Health Organization, played words to blur the fact that he said there was no evidence of human-to-human transmission on 23rd of January. And remember, on 23rd of January, I actually published that something about this. It's getting dangerous or whatever. But there were 800 cases of infectious with 25 deaths across 5 countries. This nasty guy intended to help CCP privileges flee China to the West. World Health Organization is blatantly hijacked by the one from the third world countries colluding with rogue China. Oh, yeah, they're so easy to buy. Martin Poole, you're world famous in Europe. I am. I was during some of the wars. I know that. A lot of my stuff was being translated to most of the languages over there. They've probably forgotten who I am now. Let's see. Hey, Lois, convection of the states. I hope not convection. convention. Wacky McJenkins is asking, as you fast, are you eating any or simply not eating at all? Zero food. Nothing. Nothing. Except for vitamins. Just a few vitamin pills like zinc, some other minerals, multivitamin, and I have some elderberry coming in, but I don't have it yet. Just a few items like that, but just that's it. And I had I had coffee today, but then for about the last 2 or 3 days, I didn't even have coffee. I had only water. And then for the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 days of this, something like that, fast, I had coffee, and I had matcha one day too. But Melanie, I'll come back to the United States this year. Surely, I'm coming back. I am coming home. It's time. I need to find a way to finance and set up. I need a base in the United States. I don't even have a base in the United States. I don't even have a driver's license anymore. My driver's license expired. I've actually literally got to start from that level. I want to see how my country has changed since I've been gone. Sarge Harris, Michael, CDC came out with a research saying that the virus sticks to soles of shoes. Lovely. I recommended foot bath at entrances of clinic, but I was advised not to because the CDC didn't come out with the policy of using foot baths. Why are we playing catch up with the CDC? Yeah, good grief. Well, you know some other problems that are going on because you and I have talked about it. So many, like medical companies not allowing people to wear masks, and it's just ridiculous. Torp Waxer, at the current death growth rate, the USA will exceed USA and Spanish flu deaths by May 15th. We're going to take a lot of casualties, Torp, a lot. But Melanie, I'll certainly be back this year. Actually, I got to do a fundraiser at some point to and to do it right, not to just, I want to do this right, like basically throw the punch, throw a hard punch, and get out there and really, how I went to the wars, very serious, full bore. Like when I went to Hong Kong, I went full on to Hong Kong and stayed for 6 months until they kicked me out, right? So Ray Rodriguez, true story, Michael. Politicians hire consultants or appoint committees to insulate themselves from blame. Absolutely. It's because they're weak. Because they're weak leaders. They're weak leaders. Why do you need a consultant when you can just pull around all the people around you that you need to talk with? There's not a town in America that doesn't have a lot of smart people in it that you can't pull together for councils. Kelly Jansen, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz spent a year in China and then every summer for at least 10 years. Patriots are protesting outside of the governor's mansion right now, wanting him to start opening up Minnesota businesses so we don't get out of business. Oh, yeah, it's time to do it. Sherry says you got a herd of maybe 30 Javelina wild pigs. Javelina? Those things are dangerous. Where do you live? You live in Peru? That's where you live. Brazil? You live in a rainforest? You got a bunch of Yanomami running around you? Bruno Turcott, China nuclear test during pandemic, so they talk about it at your end. Well, that's interesting. Let's see. Ray Sense, all nations have to unplug investment and different production lines from China. Dana Dillett. So the Trump presentation and the women in charge of explaining the virus said phase 2 is going to seek out not only symptomatic populations in hotspots, but asymptomatic. What do you think of that? Well, they're going to need to have testing, and our testing is so far behind. It doesn't even, I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, autophagy and ketosis happen during fasting, long fast. Aloha in Hawaii, Vera. Doug Rutley says, Michael, I followed your urging in early March to stock up. I got my mom stocked up and capable to shelter in place and told her to wear a mask despite USA advice not to. Where we are 1 month later and the CDC advice is to wear a mask. Glad I listened to you. I'm glad you did too. I know the ring of truth when I hear it. The USA, unfortunately, was way behind, even in the face of solid advice from nations like Italy and advice from people capable of critical analysis. Absolutely. Eduardo said 7 days was too easy. Last year I did 14 days fasting. Oh, yeah. After you do 14 days fasting, 7's nothing, is it? First time you do 7 days, though, you're like, wow, I did a whole week of fasting without food, and I'm fine. That's strange. I was told I would keel over and die, but instead I feel quite good, right? You're like, I didn't die. I went more than a week without food. I went 2 weeks without food. I almost went 3 weeks, short of, I only went 20 days. But, I didn't die, and I didn't feel like I was going to die. Andrew, is fasting recommended for those who exercise heavily? One of the smartest questions ever. There's a lot of people that talk about that. A lot of serious athletes do, and I mean serious athletes, do fast. But you better listen to them, because when I was young and a very serious athlete, people didn't fast like that. but now there's athletes that know 100 times more about that than I do. But there are a lot of athletes now who fast. So you better listen to them. And you can find a lot of them talking about it on YouTube and different places. Jennifer Rising, can women fast the same way that men can? I'm thinking of how it could impact menstrual cycles. Oh yeah, women fast a lot. Of course, not if pregnant, of course, but women, yeah. Actually, you might want to read Dr. Jason Fung's book on fasting. He's a Canadian doctor, and it's a very good book. There's a lot out there, but he's a good one to listen to. Cherie says, you're getting tested. I would too. Ward Smith, my old childhood friend, we are likely to have data supporting the use of existing drugs to treat this virus in months ahead. 35 drugs are currently in trials, some trending better than others. Vaccines are another story, 18 months plus, if one is discovered. Exactly. We still don't have a vaccine for the common cold or for AIDS, HIV, right? Or for SARS-1. I mean, the chances we're going to have a quick vaccine to this are pretty low. Wordsmith, if we can treat people, we can avoid hospitals being overrun. That's right. Maybe, like ivermectin or something like that. Thomas is saying, do you worry about loss of muscle mass during a multi-day fast? Not really, because, you'll lose a tiny amount, but not much. But it doesn't matter. You can get it right back. Muscle's easy to get back. I don't even worry about muscle. I can build muscle like crazy. That's the last thing I worry about. Just go exercise, pops right back. Let's see. Ray Rodriguez, what I heard, but could be wrong according to a contributor here. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. All right. I'm just going to shoot now. Thomas C is saying 18.6 is amazing. What Thomas is referring to is 18 hours no eat. In 6 hours, basically, you can feed your face. And some people, though, will stay keto during that 6 hours. I don't like doing keto, though, I like corn, you know what I mean? I like grits. I love grits, man. I got to get me some grits. And macaroni and cheese. I love stuff. I love Thai food. A lot of us. I like French fries. You know what I mean? I like that stuff. And sometimes I'll even eat at McDonald's. As healthy as I love to eat, I will go eat at Burger King. I will go to KFC. Not all the time, of course, but I love chocolate. So you know what I mean? It's like it's not like I'm a body Nazi. You know what I mean? I love. I mostly eat extremely healthy though. But you know I will go to a McDonald's. Uh, Tammy saying there's reopened Oregon protests in Salem on May 2nd at noon. Actually, I wish I was there. Neha, hi Mike. Did you crave for more after fasting 7 days, or you just eat less? Oh no, I'm not eating at all. It says Neha saying I'm curious. I used to experiment myself with fasting, and now my body would react, and how my body would react after, before and after. I mean, I don't. Wait a minute. Let me read your question again to make sure I understand. Neha is asking, "Hi, Mike. Did you crave for more after?" Oh, I see what you're saying. Did I crave for more food after the fast? Uh, Sometimes. Like if I had some grits, I would go through about a kilo of them, but I'd do that anyway. But I think you're right. But one thing I've done after fasting too is, man, you know, get an apple, a good apple, right? And I've said this several times. And you get one, you know, Japanese knife, super sharp, you know, thin blade, double bevel knife, you know what I mean? And and you cut that apple about as thin, you can see the light through it, right? You can, it's that thin, and you put a little salt on it, and you eat that thin slices of apple. That is so good. Things like that. Just enjoying every little piece, like take a peanut and just go, you know what? I'm going to eat this peanut and I'm going to enjoy it. And you just eat that peanut. You take like 3 or 4 minutes to eat a peanut. You know what I mean? And you just enjoy it. And you just, or like the apple, you know, when you put it in your mouth and you feel the roughness of the apple, and you know, oh, after you fasted for a long time, it makes you really love food more. Thinking about the Convention of States, your thoughts. Actually, we should bring that up during a more dedicated talk, Lois. I mean, let me take a note on the Convention of States, because we should talk about that in like a whole dedicated, where I don't bring up fasting or anything like that, because that's a big topic, as you know. Sherry saying, Mike, we can't quarantine until the next season. We'd we'd be locked up indefinitely. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's the problem. We're just gonna have to wear a mask and take as few chances as we can, but get back in the game and accept that we're gonna take some losses. Yeah, and Sherry is saying loneliness isn't healthy, nor is stress. Arizona won't stay closed like New York. Yeah, there's some of our states, some of our cultures are going to be like quarantine hell. You know what I mean? They're just not gonna do it. Tony Margiochi is saying, I have type 2 diabetes. A full fast is not recommended. Oh, no. Hold on, Rambo. Tony, full fast can be great for type 2. Not type 1, but type 2. Full fast can be great. Uh, Read Dr. Jason Fung's books. I've read 3 of his books. He's a Canadian doctor. He's a nephrologist, right? And I'm just saying, I'm not saying he's the be all and end all. Of course not. But he's just a great start. Start if you've not fasted before, but maybe you have. Monica Lee is saying, I'm also fasting 16/8 with you. Good job. All right, that's good. But you can definitely fast on type 2 diabetes. But of course, if you have any questions, I'm not the one to ask. Your doctor would be. Sonia saw a video today where China was kicking out black residents and shooing them down the street. If they didn't leave, they were be arrested. Have you seen this? I didn't physically see it, but I've seen videos of that. And I've been to China quite a few times. And oh yeah, that's totally that wouldn't even raise eyebrows in a lot of countries actually. That racism is just wildly over the top. That's why, when people start lecturing me on racism in America, I'm like, just talk to the hand. I don't want to hear it. I've been to 75 countries. I've lived more than half my life in the outside of the United States, and the rest inside. Less than half of my life has been in the United States. But it's all over the United States and in the Army, and also with the Army when I was in the wars, right? And so I've seen a lot. And I would say, actually, out of all the countries I've been in, and there's a lot of racism in the U.S., of course, but it's about the least racist. A lot of these countries that like lecture us on racism, I'm like, I've been to your country. Don't tell me about racism. So, the difference is we put it all over the news all the time, and attack it so hard. Marcy Felt is saying, with your fasting, are you drinking anything other than water? Do you have tricks for the first 4 days to curb hunger? Coffee and matcha is okay, and also brown tea. No herbal teas, but just brown tea or green tea, like matcha. But no sugar, no honey. Don't be like, I'm going to have a little bit of, creamer. I tell you what, that little bit of creamer will make you hungry. Yeah, there's ways to curb your hunger, and actually we can talk about that in detail sometime. I've talked about it before. There are ways, and let's talk about it in the future. But yeah, one is drink coffee or matcha. That can help curb your hunger. Tom Colbert saying Thai monks don't eat past noon, so they intermittent fast too. Yep, they sure do. They intermittent fast. Dr. Jason Fung. Dr. Jason Fung is also on a lot of YouTube videos talking about fasting. I've watched a lot of his videos and I've read 3 of his books. Thomas says, I love fasting for 18 hours because I don't waste time during the workday, and I get home 1 hour earlier by not taking lunch. Yeah, we spend a lot of time eating. That's one of the things I didn't even mention. I'm glad you brought it up. Save so much time if you only eat 1 meal a day. A lot of time. Yeah. SB is saying, I have friends who have gotten sick and will recover. This virus is no joke. Oh no, this is live fire. This is real bullets right here. Megan Niece is saying, I'm late, kind of anxious about the whole states fight thing. I'm in New York, not really sure how this is going to pan out. I'm still hunkering down and prepping regardless. You're doing the right thing. Continue to hunker down and prep, improve your resilience. Every day, think of a way you can improve your resilience. Like I've been doing all kinds of stuff. Like I spend a lot of time. Most of the time I'm spending studying. And then when I'm not studying, I'm improving my resilience in various ways. Like next week, I'll do a test with no electricity for 24 hours. And we'll see if I've got live feed. If I don't have live feed, then I'll do it on the phone. I'll do a live feed. But I should have no problem. Everything should be operating even if I shut off the electricity as if the city went down. And these things are helpful, right? What are you going to do if your freezer or your refrigerator stops? What are you going to do? What if you got $1,000 worth of groceries in your refrigerator? And a lot of those will spoil. I mean, you need a backup plan unless you trust the government to keep the electricity on, which I don't. And remember, we don't get a timeout from hurricane season, earthquake season, tornadoes ripping people apart. We just had several dozen people killed by another tornado smashing through, tornadoes doing their thing. And, we're going to get all that. Wildfires, the whole works. There's no telling what's in store for us. Fasting clears the mind. It does. Todd asked a very smart question. Why store water? What do you see happening with the water supply? That's a super smart question. that smart people ask, because pandemics often do actually lead to outages. And because, the water workers get sick, or other people that are related to that get sick. And so they're just out. And so, because there's actually pandemics all over the world all the time, they're just not usually this big and this serious, because, it can be a local pandemic too, like just within some countries in Africa or something like that. But electricity and water often go out. Critical infrastructure, internet could go out. I mean, that's why you've seen electrical, since January, I was saying be prepared for electrical outages. Keep in mind, I study war, right? So when we have this pandemic unfolding, I was like, okay, in my mind, all the pandemic war related things that I've studied, that immediately informs me of the problem set that may be coming, famines, wars, and loss of utilities like, water, electricity, communications, that sort of thing. So be prepared, get enough water. That depends on your circumstance, of course. If you live up in Appalachia and you got a clear mountain stream that's 12 months, it's all season stream, and it's crystal clear and there's no homes upstream there, then you don't need to store up on water. You got water running down the mountain, but if you're out in Arizona and you're like 10 miles from the nearest water hole, yeah, you need to stock up. You need to be prepared. It depends on your situation. Steve Hayes, at first I thought I was overdoing the stocking up, but I'm thinking different now. Oh, yeah. Look at how the prices are going up. And I think that it's foolish not to stock up now. I mean, I know it. It's crazy not to, actually. Donna Cox, Wisconsin governor just extended our shelter in place for 6 more weeks. Not that many cases yet compared to other states. He's being cautious, and some are upset. Yeah, well, they'll just take to the streets if that's what they want to do. Because the governor can buck the president, and the people can buck the governor or the president, or both, right? So, I mean, that's a great thing about the United States. You can just be like, well, I just don't agree, and I'm an American, and I'm going to take to the streets. SB, let's see. How did I end up back at the top? I'm shooting right down to the bottom. Lois Stockwell, radio communication would be very important, and the electronic infrastructure goes down. Absolutely. SB, who would have thought that tornadoes that killed 22 people a couple of days ago wouldn't have hardly make a mention in national news? Because there's so much going on, as you know, SB. You know the deal. Richard Benson, I'm a type 2 diabetes. My doctor just told me a fast would be good for me today. Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to make that level of advice, but read Dr. Jason Fung's work. Ted Gambogi says, we stocked up and then do the yawn thing, and when I need something at the store, I roam the aisles to see if I missed something. Oh, that's a good point. Thanks for bringing it up, Ted. When you go to the stores, well, now they want you to get in and get out real quick, and you might want to do that. But when you go to the stores, walk up and down every single aisle. Don't do sniper shopping unless, you're there for something very specific. Do machine gun shopping. Go up and down every single aisle, because there's things that you didn't put on your list. You know how it goes. They'll be like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I need to get some of those, and and get them, and take your time and do it right. Hey, Dizzy, we lived in Detroit area when we were in Eastern Seaboard, had power outage for several days. We were told not to drink water because the pump wastewater. See, that's an important point as well. I'm from Florida, and I've also been to a lot of other places where when you have a storm, suddenly the water, even the tap water, can be polluted, right? The tap water can be contaminated. So that's important to keep in mind, is to have yourself a filter. Yeah, okay. Laura says, we just bought 24 rolls of crap toilet paper for $20 at Walmart. Be ready for this kind of price increases. Keep stocking up. Oh, yeah. Do it. Megan says, I bought 50 pounds of potatoes and haven't eaten one yet. Well, don't let them go to waste now. That's a sin. Can them or do something with them. Don't let them go to waste. Make French fries out of them if you have to and freeze them. Or freeze the potatoes. And that's another thing you can get right now. Get a freezer if you don't have one. And stock up. There's a lot of really long shelf life things that aren't that expensive, like rice and dry beans. That sort of thing are not very expensive, and stock up, and you can put them in the freezer too as well, and they're going to last for forever. Dizzy Van Patten, there are some kinds of rices though that don't freeze as well. You can look that up on YouTube. From Preppers will tell you all about it. Dizzy Van Patten, we lived in Detroit area when the whole eastern seaboard had power outage for several days. We were told not to drink the water because the pump wastewater system dumped the sewage before it was treated into the Detroit River, the main water source. Yep. So that's why you need a water filter. I use a Katadyn pocket filter. Put Jaman, you said you have a Brita water filter for household. I thought you just told me to go back to America. Was that you? I thought it was somebody else. But Brita is good. But I have to be careful because I don't know which Brita you're talking about. I don't know which one you're talking about. But you can certainly look it up online and check. And you're very smart to check. Lois says, women can browse shop, men list shop. And it's time for men to do the browse shop thing. Because these are your last chances before prices really skyrocket, I think. And remember, I've been saying since January that this is going to happen, and we're not even there yet. We're not even close. This is the way this is going now, you will be very thankful for everything you bought in advance. Megan says, what is good storage that is rodent proof? I don't want to attract anything in the stock basement. Oh, there's all kinds of things. You can get those barrels that you can seal, big plastic barrels. You can get, oh Lord, so many things. You can, freezer, just a trash can that has a good lid that you can seal, that sort of thing. Oh, you live in USA. Wayshawn says, it's the Brita cartridge ones that fit into the jug. So, no, those won't work well enough. Oh, listen to Wayshawn. Yeah, but I use Katadyn, actually. Pam Sellard says, thank you. And I got a Berkey, but it hasn't arrived yet. A big Berkey. It's called a big Berkey. It's the second smallest one, actually. Thanks for talking about Katadyn, Pam says. Water filters. My friend gave me a new one with several replacement filters. Katadyn's great. I've had one since 2002 that I've used the same one since 2002, and it's a great filter. Megan says, I was going to make fries and hash browns and freeze. I guess I can just chunk up the rest. I think you can. Look on prepping websites, but I think you can just freeze them the way they are. Lois is saying pure water filters are better than Brita. Take out more, including lead. Yeah, cut up those potatoes and freeze them. Just don't waste any food. Because when you waste food, I actually feel it. It makes me go, somebody's wasting food. It's just... how long do you intend on keeping your fast going for, Mike? Gav is asking, Gav Thomas. And when you come off of it, what would be the first thing you'd recommend to eat? I'm not sure how long I'll go. I think I'm into the 9th day now. I think I'm in the 9th day. I'll look on when I started. I might just go into some soup, some light soup, and then people say that you need to ease back into it, or you're gonna get all sick and all that. But on some of my fast, I haven't done that, and I felt fine. I felt fine, but I would tend to go if there's people that teach fasting and they're always bringing in a class of people fat. Actually, that'd be fun sometime. Get a bunch of people fasting together at some retreat. One thing I think on fasting though is if you can be quiet, quiet without any stresses around you, I think you can enjoy it a lot more because there's something it does to your mind. And I was telling that to Soy, and now she's into the same time frame, going very far without food, and and um, and she, you can feel it. It changes your mind. Yeah, Thomas says you got a aversion to wasted food too. I don't know about Schweppes. I mean, I don't have any. That's why I haven't checked into it. Let me see. I skipped over a lot of questions up here. I don't know. Um, uh, Lois says, "Why no herbal teas?" They're actually food. There's calories in them and that sort of thing. Um, if you're doing a full fast like I am, then you know what? The next fast I do after this, I might do it with just water, with like no no coffee or any green tea at all. But notice tonight I'm not even drinking coffee. I had some today, but snake juice. Kemp says a lady in Polk County fasts for months at a time. She has energy to burn. You can do it if you're fat enough. You can do it for sure. There's no question that you can do it. Richard says, Richard Benson, my doctor told me to fast this morning because my blood sugar has been high for the past couple. Yeah, you do those finger stick things, and you'll find suddenly you'll be like, wait a minute, according to this, I'm not a diabetic anymore. You're like suddenly without all medicines and all that. Eduardo says, do you think I can live there with my family? How much is the cost of small property? Are you talking about Thailand? If you're a foreigner, you can't buy property here. Well, Thailand's a wonderful place to live. But if you're a foreigner, you can't buy property. All right. You might be able to see by my eyes, I'm actually getting a little tired. And so I need to call her a night because tomorrow I got all kinds of stuff going on. And I gotta do some work around my house on some resilience stuff that deals with the electricity. That's why I'm going to do a test uh, next week. Just click off the electricity and see how well that I can function for 24 hours with no electricity, which I should have electricity. Actually, it'll just be not from the city. I just want to see if anything messes up. All right, because you know how that goes. First time you don't test something, that bad boy won't work. That's why you'll see a lot of special operations guys before they go on a serious mission test fire their weapons and that sort of thing. Good night. Hey, Charlene. Hope you're doing good. Wait, Ted's asking a question. New York is sending ventilators to other states. Each curve is turning down. Are we over this? Oh, no. We are not over this. We are not over this. Not even remotely close. Not even remotely close. This is really, we're still on the front edge of it. That much I know. That's within my realm of knowable information. Gav says, my electricity went down here in Bangkok earlier. Oh, Tony, good night, fella. Stay safe. I will thank you for everybody that's supporting my work, by the way, with Patreon or PayPal or Venmo or Bank of America, Mitsubishi Bank in Japan, my Thai bank accounts like Bangkok Bank or what else do I have? KTB, Krung Tep Bank. I have to have so many bank accounts, man. It's a pain. Uh, all right, you can hear my voice cracking. I better go ahead and call it a night. Y'all have a good night and be safe. And I'll continue to fast, and we can talk about that more another time. Mike out.